Hello everybody, I am Keaton and this is Kid Catholic Season 10, Episode 18. I hope that you guys are having an absolutely wonderful day so far. And today I wanted to talk about specifically the sin of pride. But before we get into that, if you would please click the red subscribe button down below and click the like button. And I just wanted to let you guys know lately with a lot of my past videos, YouTube has been randomly turning off the comments. I don't know why. I've turned it on. I've tried to make the comments on. They keep getting turned off. So if you can't comment on this video, if it won't let you because it says they're turned off, go to my community tab and comment on the post about the video, because I'm really trying to keep the comments up as best as I can. So I wanted to talk about pride, which is one of the 7 deadly sins, but I wanted to just briefly read the 7 deadly sins here, and they are oftentimes listed in order as pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth. And so I want to specifically focus on pride for today's episode, which when they're normally put in order, pride is the one that becomes first. So I have a definition of pride here in a way that St. Gregory explains it. It says, pride is inordinate esteem for one's own excellence. It is a habit or vice that disposes us to think more of ourselves than we ought. There is a proper esteem we should have for ourselves, but it is rooted in an appreciation for the gifts we have received from God. Pride is essentially the boosting up of our own excellence where it shouldn't be, if that makes sense, right? Thinking that we are better than everybody else. And there's a difference between being proud of something and being prideful in it, right? For example, it is important for us to be proud that we are Catholic. It's important to be proud of your kids, right? To be proud of your sibling if he or she accomplishes something. But we can't be prideful in that, right? So if we're proud that we're Catholic, we can't take pride in being Catholic. We can't put our Catholicism above everything else and just think that we are better than everybody else and that there's no way that we could have gotten there without God. Because the reality is, pride doesn't just affect other people and affect us by putting ourselves above everybody. It affects God too, because it minimizes the role that God plays in our life. It sort of puts God on the sideline, makes us think that we got to where we are through our own merit, right? Makes us think that all of our worth, all of our well-being is due to ourselves, when in reality, it's due to the gifts from God. I want to read right here. St. Gregory lists 4 types of pride, and it is a terrific way of listing this. And the first one is thinking that one's good is from oneself, as I mentioned, right? Because the reality is, what we do, it's from God, right? We wouldn't be here without God. And so we can acknowledge, you know what, I'm really happy I made, varsity basketball. Wouldn't that be nice? But then we need to tell ourselves, I am able to be here because of God, right? Like I'm happy, I'm blessed that I get to have a Catholic YouTube channel called Kid Catholic. But I can acknowledge that that is a gift from God, right? If we just take it as ourselves, completely put God out of the equation, then that is a form of pride. The second one that St. Gregory lists is thinking that one's good is from God, but that it is a consequence of one's own merits. So this is sort of like the last one. It just adds in a little tidbit, acknowledging like, hey, I'm grateful this is from God, but I am the only one who got myself here. It's sort of contradictory in and of itself, but we need to remember how we were able to get to that accomplishment or get to where we are, whatever it might be, right? The third one is boasting of excellence that one does not possess. This one, I feel like St. Gregory is really trying to make it evident, the sin of pride, right? Boasting of excellence that one does not possess. And this is something that we see far too often. And it's something that's normalized in today's culture. And if we ever catch ourselves doing this, right, boasting about something that maybe we didn't have anything to do with, then we do need to lay off. The fourth one that St. Gregory lists is despising others and wishing to appear the sole possessor of what one has. This is related to the sin of envy. Right, so despising others and wishing to appear the sole possessor of what one has. This one I feel like maybe a little bit more of a rare side of pride that we don't see as often, but it is something that might happen, right? And again, it is really related to envy. If we want to be the only one who does this or the first one who does this, right? Whatever accomplishment, whatever it may be. And again, pride doesn't just have to do with accomplishments. Oftentimes that has to do with who we are as a whole, seeing ourselves as above everybody else. Again, there is a fine line between being proud and being prideful. And as soon as we cross that line, we go directly into sin, whether that sin be mortal or venial, because pride is the root cause of so many sins. Because of pride, we commit a lot of sins that we absolutely should never commit, and pride really just leads us down that road. And the reality is sometimes we may be prideful without even realizing it. Because I say all the time on this channel, right? I've said it so many times. I've said it's important to be proud that we're Catholic. We can be proud of a lot of things. That's a good thing, right? Of course it is. We should all be proud that we're Catholic. We should all we should live in a way that anybody who knows us knows that we're Catholic, right? That's being proud of it. But we shouldn't see everybody else as less than us because of that, right? That's where the sin of pride comes in. And we shouldn't minimize God's role in that, right? As soon as we put God out of the equation, as soon as we put God to the sidelines, as soon as we look at everything in our life as done by our own will, as done by ourselves, as nobody else helped except for ourselves, that is a form of pride. And the way that we fix this, the way that we combat this is with the opposite virtue to pride. That virtue is humility. Humility is such an amazing virtue. In fact, it's defined as the quality of being humble. This humbleness is essential to combat the sin of pride. And again, sometimes we may be prideful without even realizing it. But we need to have this humility to understand. You know what? It's okay to be proud of an accomplishment. It's okay to be proud of who we are. But if we minimize God's role in that, and if we see ourselves as above everybody else due to that proudness, due to that pridefulness, then that's when that proudness becomes pridefulness. And humility is such an amazing virtue because it steers us in the completely opposite direction. Humility, the act of being humble, the act of humbling ourselves, knowing that we wouldn't be where we are without God, right? Knowing that it is because of God that we are able to live a life in the first place. And so whatever, I'd say most of the time, right, accomplishment that we're proud of, most of the time, God played a big role in that. And so humility is such an essential virtue, something that we all need to have. And next time we feel ourselves being prideful, maybe we see ourselves crossing the line between just being proud of something and boastfulness, we need to remind ourselves the importance of humility and remind ourselves of St. Gregory's 4 types of pride, avoiding each one of those. Again, that being thinking that one's good is from oneself, thinking that one's good is from God, but that it is a consequence of one's own merits, boasting of excellence that one does not possess, and despising others and wishing to appear the sole possessor of what one has. We need to avoid each and every one of those at all costs, and we do that through humility and through God, and growing closer to God in whatever way that may be. So, now that the topic is done, do y'all know what it's time for now? It's time for
the Saint of the Week.
And today's Saint of the Week is St. Gregory the Great. Since I talked about St. Gregory's sort of 4 types of pride, it's awesome to do him for this week's Saint of the Week. And so St. Gregory, actually from a very young age, was sort of seen as someone who would be special. He was the son of a senator in Rome in the 6th century, and he was the prefect of Rome before he was 30. He resigned after a couple years doing that. He went and funded monasteries and became a Benedictine monk himself. After he was ordained a priest, he was known, or he was ordained as one of the Pope's 7 deacons, and then later became Pope himself. He was a rise to the top from the beginning, sort of growing in his in the clergy through time, which is absolutely what he wanted to do. As Pope, he was someone who, especially at that time, a lot of people respected. He was firm in his beliefs. He was firm in his stance sort of on the church. He would excommunicate priests who he found that were not fit to be priests. He was also known for one of the first sort of basic reformations of the liturgy and what the liturgy would become. He was faced with a time of the Catholic Church was struggling with foreign relations, especially in the East. And St. Gregory the Great was able to keep the Catholic Church together for what it is. And again, he has absolutely amazing teachings. He and St. Thomas Aquinas sort of defined what the 7 deadly sins were in the first place. And then he went and more specifically name those different types of pride that I talked about earlier. St. Gregory the Great was someone who was very knowledgeable from the moment he was young until his death, and absolutely put God first in everything he did. In fact, he was known for his charitable works as Pope, and even worked with persecuted Jews to help them during the 6th and early 7th centuries. And so St. Gregory the Great is a terrific example of that humbleness. He didn't see himself as above anybody because he was Pope. He didn't see himself or he didn't think that he was Pope based off of his own merit, right? He didn't think that he had gotten to that point because of him. He knew who it was because he knew that it was because of God, and he absolutely did not see himself above anybody or above any other religion for that matter. I mean, he went and helped those Jews who were struggling, which is an absolutely amazing thing. And so anytime we feel like we're sort of struggling with that sin of pride or trying to figure out where the line between being proud and being prideful is, we can always look to St. Gregory the Great for help. St. Gregory, pray for us. So before y'all click off this video, I want to say thank y'all so much for watching. Please go to my website, kidcatholic.com. And if you go to kidcatholic.com and click the shop page, I have a whole new shop up there. There's so many different things you can get. There's like phone cases, water bottles, t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, kids shirts, right? So please go on there and check that out. I would really appreciate it. Also, please reach out to me if you want me to come and speak to your men's group, women's group, conference, youth group, church, school, whatever it may be. If you want to do so, please email me directly at kidcatholic1@gmail.com or go to my website, kidcatholic.com, click the contact me page and email me from there, and we can get details worked out. Please check out all 3 of my social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The link to all 3 of those will be in the description and in the comments down below. And then please comment any say or topic suggestions that you might have. Please like the video. Please subscribe if you're subscribed already. Please share this channel and video with your friends and family. Make sure that they know about Kid Catholic. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that y'all are having an absolutely terrific summer so far. This was Keaton of Kid Catholic. I'll see y'all next week. And hi, Brielle.